So we have some big summer blockbusters coming out.
Jurassic
we
World.
spoke about them briefly. Yeah, that too. Even though I'm not hearing good things about it so far.
Shame.
Which I shouldn't be surprised about because it's Jurassic Park 6 or 7.
7, I think. Yeah.
How often is the 7th of a series any good?
Fast 7? No, actually no.
No. And you know we've touched on these.
Star Wars Episode 7? No. Go ahead.
And we've touched on these topics before when we did our sort of deep dive onto Avengers Doomsday, and we spoke about we had to look forward, and we've done some reactions to a Superman trailer too. So we've mentioned these films, but as they're fast approaching, there's a lot more promotional material coming out, and we're just going to have a look at a couple of the recent clips that have come out, and also just talk about our expectations for the film, how we think they're going to do, and they're clearly battling head to head. So which one we also think is not only going to be the better quality film, but which one would be more successful.
Yeah. Well, the marketing is firing on all cylinders for both of these movies, and I think it's mostly working. Like, I think some of the clips that were released online of like the actors from the Superman movie kind of like interacting and doing funny things, I think those are really nice. They do show the chemistry in the cast, and like the characters, they look good. So I don't know, I feel like the marketing is doing a good job in getting us excited, but then like every once in a while they release a clip that makes you go like, what actually? So yeah,
and it's a tough one because I remember James Gunn stating that this is Superman's going to get sort of Barbie levels of promotion in this sort of 3-4 week last run up to when the film releases, and I'm definitely not seeing that level of kind of hype or excitement around it, but I think the promotional material around Superman is definitely beating the stuff I'm seeing around Fantastic Four for sure.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I thought it'd be interesting. So I saw a couple of these clips recently, and I sent them over to you, and I thought they were interesting to talk about because it's an element of showing too much sometimes. I think I was actually more excited for both of these films
Before
4 weeks ago
yeah,
than I am now.
that's fair.
And it's just I think they're releasing too much, and maybe that's it's overcompensating because they are worried, as we've said before, the future of the MCU and potentially the DCU does ride on the success of these next movies.
Yeah, and we've seen it with Thunderbolts. Even though it was a more than decent movie, it bombed spectacularly at the box office. So both Marvel and DC right now, they are shitting their pants that these movies will underperform and kind of like put an end to all their plans. They are doing too much. They're showing too much. I still want some mystery left when I go into the theater. And that's why I stay away from marketing material, especially close to like release. But then you forced me to watch these fucking clips, and here I am complaining about them. So let's do it.
This is what we do now.
That's what we do. That's fine. I'm gonna enjoy the movie way less because of this, but let's do it.
Hey, you never know. It might be tempering your expectations here, which could be a good
That's
thing.
fair. That is fair.
Because we all know how excited you get over these recent comic book movies, and little Tommy always comes out the cinema, with his I'm picturing you with like a melted ice cream all dripping down your hand and all spilt over your shorts and your sad
and then a
face
slip on a
coming out the
banana
cinema.
peel. Yeah, of course. That's what I do. Yeah. So should we do Superman first?
Yeah, let's start off with I think this was the latest promotional clip that came out about Superman, and it's sort of titled as "Where's the Dog?" So we'll both check that out now.
All right.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be.
Lex, I tried to stop him.
It's fine, Heather. Superman, we finally meet. Would you like a coffee?
Where's the dog?
So I mean, just to give us some context of what's happening.
I don't know, man. He said dog a lot. So it's basically just Superman, Clark Kent as Superman goes to pay Lex Luthor a little visit, and he does so in a very Superman-ish fashion, like crashing through a wall. And
Are you being facetious when you say that?
I'll never tell.
Because I feel like highly emotional and aggressive and
It's
angry
not
is
how you would describe him.
are not traits. Yeah, are not traits I typically attribute to Superman.
Well, he is very angry, in this clip where he demands Lex Luthor to tell him where the dog is, and Lex Luthor is like, I have no idea what you're referring to. It's an out of context clip, and I don't know if it can be indicative of the movie quality in any way. All I can say is, as you mentioned, it felt weird to see Superman so angry and ready to threaten Lex.
And obviously, especially with the last big proper trailer we had, he was getting questioned by Lois Lane, and she's trying to give him a bit of a grilling, and he gets incredibly emotional and aggressive in that scene too.
Right away as
And
well, yeah.
yeah, I thought that was even more out of place than this. At least he's doing it to Lex, and he's lost his dog. Whereas in the other scene, he's like getting aggressive with Lois Lane because she's asking him very fair questions.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be a different take on Superman than we've seen before. And
Well, at least it's not like Henry Cavill being like super sad all the time. Like, honestly, some emotion is welcome. I do like Henry Cavill.
do you bleed?
Exactly. Like, I don't know, man. I like Henry Cavill, and I think he looked the part, but I don't know. His take on Superman was very monotone, and
It was very muted, and he was pretty dour the whole time. Yeah, it's
like, I do like here how it already shows a kind of dynamic that it's gonna be in the film that I think is really strong, because Lex is calm here. It's a comedic scene in a way. Superman is probably very angry for valid reasons. We lack the context, as I said, but Lex is calm here because he knows Superman is not gonna lay a finger on him. He's gonna threaten him. He's gonna break his fucking chair and like his desk, but it's not gonna hurt him. But even knowing that he has a code and wouldn't hurt him for no reason, he still hates him and wants him exposed as some kind of monster because he can't stand the idea of this superior being out there doing good deeds. So I think, like this clip kind of shows Lex's approach to this dynamic, and I think it's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah, I like Lex's performance in this, and as we said before from the last trailer as well. I think he's gonna be really good in this as long as his character's well written. I think Nicholas Holt's gonna smash it, and we have sort of his girlfriend or whoever maybe that is in the scene with him, and she's filming everything Superman's doing on her iPhone, and you're like, that's definitely going to play into this element of Lex trying to sway public opinion on Superman, showing him in this light of him losing his rag.
And Superman would just destroy that phone in a second.
Could you imagine if he did that as well? That would be more of a Zack Snyder. If he goes up to the woman and crushes her hand with the phone,
That's
she holds the phone.
Homelander type shit. No, again, I don't want to be here like nitpicking a 30-second clip, but it is interesting that they decided to show this scene specifically to sell you on the movie, because I feel like, these clips should be indicative of what the story and the tone is going to be, and
Exactly.
it's interesting. Yeah,
You'd think if you were putting out little clips, it'd be a clip of Superman saving somebody, saving an elderly couple as they're about to die or something like that, and him giving them like a "Hey, don't worry, I'm here" sort of thing, very like hopeful tone.
Yeah.
Whereas none of the promotional material has really had that, and it's sort of, I thought it was interesting because it seeps into what I said originally, that maybe that James Gunn is tonally maybe not the right person for a Superman film, unless it's going to be a very different take and a very different version of the character that we know.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to I'm seeing those elements in the promotional material that has me worried about how all this film's gonna be.
I mean, yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think, it makes sense. We will see, and we should see a Superman that is angry and dangerous. We've seen it in the comics, but yeah, it's weird to see it here because it's probably a very early on scene, and he's not especially threatening. It's just throwing a tantrum. It's strange. And also, looking at the other trailers, they've shown, Crypto the dog being an absolute menace, and they show him getting emotional again in the interview with Lois. So the stuff that they're showing, if someone is looking at this critically and being like, okay, so why are you showing me this? What is this movie going to be? I guess, if you are worried about the outcome, you might be like, okay, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. But most of the stuff they've released, I did enjoy. And, I'm excited for this movie. As I mentioned, I started reading Superman comics. I think, the excitement level is high enough for me, even though this clip specifically is not that great.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they don't release anything more from now until it comes out. And if they do, I mean, I'm certainly
I'm not gonna
I'm
watch
certainly gonna
it.
try and not
Yeah,
watch it.
not gonna watch.
Because I don't need to know any more about this film. But yeah, like I said, I'm definitely still gonna watch it. Obviously, we'll still see it at the cinema. But yeah, I have my concerns. I have my concerns.
That's
And
good. We should always go into a movie skeptically optimistic.
yeah, that's exactly how I'm approaching this one.
Because, this way you can be surprised and be happy that you were wrong, or, if it's not as good as you wanted, you're not going to be crushed by
I can
it.
come back on here and be like, "Ha, fuck you, Tommy, I told you so."
And I'm just going to be here licking my ice cream and falling on banana peels. And just be like, oh no, why is it bad?
And so they had a similar kind of clip from Fantastic Four that came out recently as well, and I'd sent it to you, and I thought they gave me similar vibes in the sense of the tone and the kind of concerns for the overall film they were giving me. So we'll check out this one now as well.
All right.
Hey, what time is it? Say the date.
That's not really something I say.
Hey, what time is it?
It's dinner time. Get inside.
Say the line, Ben.
Yeah. So give us a bit of setup for people who are just listening to what we saw there.
So it's a clip, a series of clips actually, stitched together in a YouTube short with a big white title at the top of the image that says "Theater's gonna explode when Ben will say it." And then there's an exploding head emoji.
Well, maybe because that's not the official. That's not the official video, is it?
Yeah, I know, but this is the one you sent me,
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny because you don't know if it's been said like ironically, or if people are actually like excited to hear the thing.
You have way too much faith in people.
I mean, you sent me a clip recently of like this guy reacting to a scene in Ironheart, and I have been watching Ironheart, by the way. I have been doing that with my life, which is questionable, but. I mean, it's not even a horrible show. It's just a very subpar and an interesting one.
And as I said to you before, it's you're like the monk from the Da Vinci Code with the self-flagellation. what you put yourself through to watch these Disney Plus shows. It's godly.
I mean,
it's godly. Honestly.
I want to check them out, and sometimes you get pleasantly surprised, like with Agatha All Along, which was funny and entertaining for what it was. And then like sometimes you get something absolutely horrible like Secret Invasion. I want to make up my own mind about stuff, and sometimes the grifters are right. This is bullshit. but sometimes it's not.
But like as I mentioned to you before, I was cooked too many times on the Disney Plus shows, and I think after Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Loki, I was like, right, I am not watching any more of this stuff. It's too meandering. It's too much of your time spent watching these Disney Plus shows that end up going nowhere, and they, absolutely character assassinate all these people that you really enjoyed in previous movies. And
to be fair, I wasn't really watching Ironheart with my full attention. I was like, after the first episode, it didn't really grab me. I was like, I'm just gonna like let it play while I do other stuff, and if something interesting happens, I'll go back to it. But we're not talking about Ironheart. We're talking about Fantastic Four, and we're talking about The Thing saying the line, the famous line, "It's clobbering time." And he doesn't want to say it. People stopping on the street, and he's like, "Hey, say the line," and he doesn't want to say it. And then Johnny is making fun of him and asking him to say it. And are people really going to lose their minds in the theaters? Oh, and that's why I mentioned Ironheart, because you sent me a clip of this guy and I couldn't make up my mind if he was being genuine or not. It was reacting to a scene from Ironheart and being like, oh my God, this is insane. And like, I know the scene that he was reacting to, and nothing insane happens in that scene.
Is this the one? Because I sent you one about the Obadiah Stane thing, and then I sent you a Mephisto one. Are you talking about the Mephisto one?
I haven't seen the Mephisto one yet. Spoilers, by the way. I'm really excited for Mephisto to show up. I'm bet it's gonna be fucking amazing, and everyone is gonna lose their minds.
The
for that.
Mephisto clip I sent you is even worse. There's, I mean, I am just gonna spoil it for you. But
It's fine.
Mephisto is just Sacha Baron Cohen, and he is just dressed as Sacha Baron Cohen in the film or in the TV series.
No.
They have he's turning a spoon on this cup of tea he's drinking, and in the reflection of the spoon, and it's kind of cool, visually interesting what they do. In the reflection of the spoon, you actually see what Mephisto should really look like. He kind of looks like a devil in the reflection of the spoon, and this like reviewer or whatever stops it on that, and he's like, "Would you look at that? Marvel's cooking again, bro. They're cooking." And it's like, it's literally
With Borat playing Mephisto.
it's a shot of a reflection on a spoon. Like, it literally just jangle those keys.
I don't know, man. Like, I have to. I will watch it. I mean, it's just 3 more episodes. What? Life is short.
I'm
but-
loving watching reviews on Ironheart, to be honest. I'm loving watching little clips, out of context may it be, but it looks hilariously bad.
Man, honestly, like, if we want to really be honest, I mean, it's not a good show. I'm not defending it, but people are playing it up just because they know that they're gonna get clicks if they say that the new Marvel show with the black lead is bad. Like, people are losing their minds over the fact that she says, oh, Iron Man, Tony Stark would not be Iron Man if he wasn't a billionaire. Oh, this is character assassination. How dare you, Marvel? And I'm like, who cares? Like, she's a teenager, like, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
She's young, she's brash, like, she can have that opinion. And also, it's kind of true. And that doesn't take away from Tony Stark's legacy. He was a bad guy, and then he turned good, and he became like that. That's the most amazing thing the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, is the character arc for Tony
Oh,
Stark.
hell yeah.
And so, like, if Riri is not perfect from the get-go, and she has to learn a lesson about, like, putting other people before her because she needs to become a hero and whatever, she can't do stuff for money and stuff, like that can be her arc.
Yeah, but she's,
And
well,
it's done-
well, we'll see. Well, I suppose
It's done poorly.
Yeah, I suppose we'll see. I guess you'll see in the later episodes, but whether there is an arc, because at the moment she's a thief. She's complicit in a murder. She gets a grant
Yeah.
from MIT, and actually, the Stark
I've-
Foundation helped her out, and all she's done is, she steals the suit that was made with the grant money, and it seems like a very sort of twisted morality, unless it comes to play that actually she changes her ways. But
Yeah, the third episode ends with her leaving someone to die, basically.
just like Steve Rogers would do.
And I thought, like, at that moment, I was like, what the fuck? Because the show hasn't sold me on this character yet, and then she does something that I wouldn't expect a hero to do. But then she has like this very human panic attack, and that's how the episode ends. I haven't seen the latest 3. They've dumped this in 2 weeks because they have no faith in the show.
The premiere was a week ago, and the season finale is the week later.
And this should tell you everything you need to know about this show. It's chopped, like, it feels, it's so weird. Like, it feels like it's a first draft for some of the lines that characters say, but also it feels like it's been edited to death. Like, the beginning is so choppy. There's like the Dean from Community in like 2 scenes. He says barely a line and then he disappears. So clearly the story was supposed to take place over a longer period of time, over like more episodes, I guess. But then they decided to crush everything together and make shorter episodes or fewer episodes in the overall season.
To release it when you're going through your promotional campaign for Fantastic Four, your probably biggest flagship movie there's been since Spider-Man No Way Home or Avengers Endgame. that is a sign that you're trying to bury this shit.
They've dumped it because they have no faith in it, and I understand why. It's not a very good show, but some of the stuff that people are saying online, it's just blown out of proportion. It's just a whatever show. Like there's million of superhero shows of this quality,
And
like on the CW or.
that's a problem.
Yeah, no, I know, I agree, and I would love for this to be great. I like Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Obadiah Stane's son in this, even though you don't know that at the beginning, but we're spoiling this. So, and this was supposed to be a Fantastic Four clip reaction, so we should go back to that. But anyway, Ironheart is not incredible. The Hood is done horribly, by the way. Like it's just
I've seen the group of villains crew, and it kind of gives me the same. Do you remember in like Stranger Things season 2?
Eric Andre is in it for a second.
Yeah, what the hell is he doing in this show?
I don't know.
It's yeah, it's bizarre. Like I said, I've seen a lot of out of context clips, and the series opens with Riri and her best friend looking into camera, and they're saying, "I'm going to be bigger than Stark. I'm going to be bigger than Pym. I'm going to be bigger than Jobs combined." And it's like, oh, that's you sound very heroic right now. That's exactly your archetypal hero boasts about how great they're going to be and how the world needs to recognize their greatness.
Yeah, but to be fair, the
So-
next scene is her being kicked out of school and being like at the lowest point, without a suit, without the money to make it. So, it's a character arc. Again, it's done poorly. I haven't seen the latest 3 episodes. I'm not defending the show. Most of it I did not like, but I think the character of Riri can work if done properly. Like it's just that it's written badly and it's executed badly and it's acted not so greatly. Like everything about the
Yeah.
show is subpar, and it makes sense that people are shitting on it. But
Yeah, I'm sick of derivative characters.
Yeah.
Like Thunderbolts with so many derivative characters. You have 3 offshoots of Captain America and your fake Black Widow, and now you've got your derivative Iron Man who's gonna be like, I'm better, and it's like, yeah, I think you'd do better if you gave some reverence to what came before you, because he's the most beloved character in the MCU.
yeah.
But so we'll go back onto Fantastic Four.
Should we? I don't know. I think I still have a lot to say about this. No, Fantastic Four. Okay. Little clip of Ben Grimm being asked to say the line by many characters, including Johnny Storm.
And I sort of sent this to you because, again, this is a piece of promotional, a promotional clip that doesn't sell me on the film and actually makes me think, is this just going to be another very mid at best kind of comic book movie? A lot of what we've had recently. Yeah, we get this very obvious setup for a joke. We get where this is going to go. And if they subvert my expectations, I will be shocked. But several characters telling the Thing to say clobber in time. He doesn't want to say it, and I think probably when he fights Galactus at the very end, he's going to be, it's clobber in time.
No, he's gonna say Avengers Assemble, and everyone's gonna be like, wait, what?
Exactly. It's and it's that kind of humor is so overplayed. Do you remember they had like a similar joke running through Guardians 3, which I didn't like? It was the good dog, bad dog
Oh yeah.
with Cosmo, which I mean, James Gunn must have thought that was really hilarious because it plays throughout the whole film. You're like, I know where this is going. It's so obvious.
He's gonna
where this
be
is
the
all
good
leading
dog
to.
at the end. Yes, of course.
Yeah. No, there's a couple other things in this clip that I wanted to point out, because this clip stood out to me so much, because as I was watching it, it's like there's a scene when Johnny Storm's sort of riding on the Thing's back, and he's in like flame on mode, and he's flying down, and his hair is perfectly still, and the visual effects look bloody awful.
I mean, dude,
in this scene.
that's comic book accurate if you think about it, because comics are still pictures. So
Yeah, let's just watch the picture book, a flip book version of the Fantastic Four.
no, that looked very bad, worryingly bad, honestly, because both him with the flame on effect and Ben Grimm with that weird beard.
Yeah, true. Do you know what? That probably is the moment, I reckon, when Johnny's is screaming, "Say it!" they're probably fighting Galactus in this moment or Silver Surfer, and that's when he says it. It's sort of just after this clip potentially.
Yeah, it's a shame because I felt so far in the clips and trailers they showed for this film, the humor was more playful, but like rooted in character and their quirks, like, showing who they are as characters, and that's inherently endearing or funny. But this is way more of that, well, that just happened type of humor that we often get with Marvel. And
Yeah, like, oh, what a silly costume kind of thing,
yo,
and
that's a
all the
silly
thing, what a
name.
silly name. Yeah, yeah, we both hate that stuff.
Yeah.
It's so overplayed.
And the thing is, oh wait, did I just do that? That's funny. Clip that. Clip that. Here's the thing. My main problem right now is none of that, even though the effects were quite bad on Johnny's hair. I just don't like the voice.
No, I think I was kind of into Joseph Quinn's the casting of him before, and until I started to see, saw the first trailer. He's just not. I don't think he's gonna be a good Johnny Storm. And I know that I don't know whether you saw, but both of him and Vanessa Kirby were talking about in the lead up to the film. They're going to be a very different interpretation of the character. They don't want a misogynistic, sort of hot-headed,
But that's his
sort
character.
of
He needs to
lover
be.
boy character.
Uh,
Exactly. That is his character. And it's like, and he doesn't have to be likable. He can, have an actual arc, and he could be like that at the beginning and
Chris
be a
Evans
bit
did
better
it
by the
perfectly.
end.
Like, man, well, I didn't do it perfectly, but like that aspect of him
when he
was
when he flies into the mountain in the Alps and
Ugh.
he's naked, and
with
it's like
with
the woman
nudes
jumps in with
with
him.
nudes from Sum 41 playing. I mean, that's peak cinema.
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure whether this Fantastic Four will even reach the heights of that Fantastic Four
I
right
mean,
now.
maybe because we're not 10 years old anymore. But no, I was referring to Ben Grimm's voice, not like
Right.
I
Okay. And
think
again, I feel the same way about him too.
I'm curious about Johnny. We'll see about Johnny. I'm happy if they want to reinvent the characters in an interesting way. But it's like when I hear these things, I'm like, you're missing the point. It's not like the character doesn't have to be perfect to be likable. It can be an asshole and people can point that out. And maybe he can grow and change because of that. Like it's like, have you ever seen the Last Airbender like TV show?
I haven't, no.
So I've only watched it a few years back because everyone was saying it's one of the best animated TV shows of all time, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. It's on Netflix, and I watched it, and the character of Sokka, which is one of the main characters, he goes on this little bit of an arc at the beginning. It's like this young boy from a little village, and he hasn't like he's trying to be a leader. He's trying to be strong. He's trying to help his family, but also he has very bad preconceived notions about like gender roles and women. Like it's like, oh, women can't fight. I'm gonna protect you. And then like some fighting woman proves him wrong and teaches him that like women can be fighters too, and you shouldn't be misogynist and whatever.
Wow, an arc.
Yeah. And he becomes a great character because he has also, it's part of the greatness of his character is that he changes and he becomes more mature and wise. But then in the remake, the live action remake, they were doing the same thing that you just mentioned. In interviews leading up to the release of the show, they were like, oh, we are changing Sokka because some of the stuff from the cartoon is very of their time and it's very outdated, and we don't want to do that anymore, and we're going to change the character. And it becomes a nothing character because that was his arc in the first season of the show, that he would kind of like learn to trust his sister, to trust this other lady that he becomes kind of like entangled with, and to realize that strength is not just in muscle, but like he needs other people's help to do stuff. And they removed this aspect of his character because they didn't want him to seem misogynistic or
Yeah, they don't want those lines or those associations to be anywhere near their project anymore. And I always sort of see a bit of a red flag whenever I hear somebody say, "Oh, we're going to update this story or this character for a more modern audience." And it's just that just means you're going to soften the edges of everything. And
Yeah, not only that, you are literally taking away stuff that makes those characters human and believable and interesting, you know?
exactly.
And Johnny Storm has always been a womanizer. You know, it's like saying, "Oh, the next James Bond movie is not gonna sleep with any woman," and I'm like, "Yeah, but I kind of like when he sleeps with women. Like, is that bad? Like, I don't know. Like, it's strange."
That's his bloody character. It's yeah, it's you are taking that aspect away from Johnny will completely change his character, and also it creates Johnny's the one who creates a lot of conflict amongst the group,
Yeah, because
and
he's hot-headed, and
his
that's
his
because it's fire. Like, what the fuck?
exactly, and taking that away, I'm gonna be looking out for this in the film when I watch it, and I bet he'll be a bit, he always has his clash with the Thing, they always butt heads,
Of
and
course.
they'll have that. He'll also clash with Reed, and he'll be taking a piss out of Reed all the time. But I bet he's just gonna be a sweet, loving brother to Sue Storm, and we don't see him being a dick to her either, or them not getting on, because they just don't want him to be that version of the character anymore, and that's the version of the character that was popular and everybody knows and loves. So if that's what they do, then
Doo-doo. Haha,
you'll
funny.
if that's what they do, you will see the repercussions of that, and people won't like this interpretation of Johnny Storm.
Yeah, we'll see. I am still hopeful, like I always am, until I get crushed by the reality of things. But
See, I think, like I said this before, I think Superman's going to be good. In the end, I hope it will be great. I think it will be good and entertaining at the very least, because that's what James Gunn does.
yeah.
Fantastic Four, on the other hand, I'm worried that this might actually be shit. Like not very good. Maybe even potentially not even on the Thunderbolts level of quality here.
Yeah, I think that Superman will be the superior movie, but
Yes.
I hope that I will enjoy Fantastic Four more. Like personally. Like I can say, "Oh, Superman is better, but I like Fantastic Four more." But I hope that Fantastic Four is good enough that I can say that.
Why is that? Do you have more of an affiliation with the
I
Fantastic
have
Four?
more of an attachment to Fantastic Four. I need this to be
Yeah.
good for me to care about anything else that Marvel produces in the next few years. If this is bad,
Yeah,
I
true.
cannot see myself being excited about Doomsday or anything else that is coming out. I need this movie, like, because Thunderbolts kind of like reignited a little bit my hope. And it was what I hoped it would be. I mean, I hoped it would be even better than that. But it was decent enough that I'm like, okay, we're on the right track. Let's try and get out of this slump, boys. We can do it. But then if they fail these characters for the third fucking time, then I have no idea. Like, how can they do Doomsday? Do again? Wow, we're being so funny today. They do Doomsday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's and to do a little maybe sneak preview, we're gonna be looking at the old Fantastic Four films, and as we're preparing for that, I watched Fan Four Stick, I guess it's now known as, but that is just called Fantastic Four, I think, isn't it?
I mean, First Steps is
Um,
going to be at least better than that. I am sure of it, man.
yeah. But I'm not sure. I thought I had watched it before, but as I was watching it the other night, I was like, I don't remember any of this. And I was watching it,
Really?
and
I saw it in cinemas, man. It is burned into my
yeah,
mind. Yeah.
some of it is actually pretty
Oh, the
decent.
first half. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was enjoying some of it, and I found myself quite surprised by, yeah, like you said, especially the first sort of act or first half or so. So how good, how good, yeah, some of it was. And I tell you what, Johnny Storm in that looks better than he
I
does
mean,
here.
it's Michael B.
And
Jordan. It's great. Yeah. Like,
I mean, not just with Michael B. Jordan, but in the effects of how he looks when he's in like Human Torch
oh,
mode.
the effects were
They
cool.
have a really cool, yeah. He's like silhouetted with flaming eyes, and then the fire all around him. Whereas this
I
looks
liked how the
like,
Thing looked in that as well. It looked like a fucking
yeah, I
golem.
thought the Thing looks better too. You know, the
Yeah.
Human Torch in this one, he looks like a little After Effects plugin of fire's been added on top of him. It's really bad looking.
But it's the only superhero origin movie ever made where the movie gets less interesting once they get the powers.
Oh my god, yeah, I was like, hold on, there's only half an hour of the movie left, and everybody's just got their powers. I was like, oh no, where's this gonna? This is gonna really drop off the hill. But yeah, but it was just interesting watching that one back, and then seeing the promotional around this. Like, just for some reason, how visual effects have dropped off so hard is beyond me.
Yeah, because they're rushing everything. You know, they're churning these out like they're fucking hamburgers in a McDonald's, and they're not giving enough time to these teams to do their job. And you know, we'll never get an effect as good as fucking Davy Jones in the Pirates movies, because
I know, it's crazy.
they're not letting people do it unless it's like a Thanos. Then you have to nail fucking Thanos, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
But like,
Thanos was probably the last time in a really big movie that had that much CGI where I was like, and everything looks great in Infinity War.
oh my god,
There's no bad visual effects, I don't really think, in that film.
yeah.
But yeah, ever since then we've had this crazy drop off in how good these films are looking.
Yeah, agreed. And just one more thing that I wanted to say about the clip and Fantastic Four First Steps as a whole, about Ben Grimm's voice. I was mentioning that I don't like this choice. I don't understand why they gave the thing such a normal voice.
Yeah, where's the gravelly effect on that they did for both previous?
I understand you cast a big name actor and you want the performance to shine through in some way. So if
Is he a big name actor?
I mean, you know,
He's famous in if you know the bear, then you know he is.
he was in Andor too, in 2 episodes. But
Oh, well, there you go.
and he was,
And we all know the world was sat glued to their TVs watching Andor.
oh man, the world doesn't know what they're missing. Let me tell you that. But you know, like you get a recognizable actor, let's say. So you want the performance to be recognizable. So if it's going to be a CGI character, kind of like Rocket Raccoon, you want the character to clearly be Bradley Cooper. So the voice is going to be recognizable.
But I think Rocket Raccoon, especially in the earlier films, is somewhat unrecognizable as Bradley Cooper. Do you not think?
Because he's so good as the character.
Yeah. I think I remember learning that when the film was already out and I was watching it, and I was like, wow, that's Bradley Cooper. I wouldn't have
And
guessed.
Vin Diesel is Groot. Wow, performance of a lifetime here. But yeah, no,
Yeah,
here,
I agree. I think what's his name? Eben something
Eben
Moss.
Moss,
Yeah. I think he's gonna be better than Billy Elliot in the last one.
yeah,
It
I
would be a
mean,
better thing
he
than
was
him.
barely a character, so
But I don't think he's gonna be as good as is it Michael Chiklis? Is that his
yeah.
name?
Well,
Who plays the original?
he fucking went. He was wearing the fucking suit, the whole, like, it was a practical suit. Just because of
Yeah.
that, Michael Chiklis is going to be iconic forever because he put in the work. He was sweating his ass off in that thing. The thing, wow.
And the voice.
And
The voice is brilliant.
yeah.
I mentioned to you that I'd rewatched the first 2 Fantastic Four films not that long ago
Nice.
as well, and his voice is perfect. It's like ripped straight from the comic book, how you would imagine the thing to sound.
Yeah.
And yeah, the rubber suit doesn't look awesome in some
It's
moments,
too
but
small.
most
It's
of the
too
time
small.
most of the time it looks decent, and he was a perfect casting for it. And yeah, the cast to me, and as we know, obviously there's uproar about Pedro Pascal. The casting for all other than maybe Sue Storm is a bit off for me in this one.
I think Sue Storm is off too.
Do you think so? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I do like Joseph Quinn visually, but as you said, we'll see what they do with the character. Pedro Pascal, I love Pedro Pascal, but honestly, I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing him in everything, and I would have rather have like a lesser known actor in this role, because I think having someone like Pedro Pascal kind of like hinders the potential to do like a lot with the character. I feel like, it's gonna be this movie and then, Doomsday and Secret Wars, and then maybe if this movie does really well, which is
Yeah.
unfortunately doubtful, maybe they'll do another Fantastic Four movie and that's it. And I feel like there's so much potential with the character of Reed Richards, so many things that you could do, and you get this big name actor who's gonna be in a thousand different projects, and he's not gonna have the time to do Reed Richards all the time. They're missing an opportunity here.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it's he doesn't have the look of the Reed Richards either. Yeah, I'm interested to see how this one plays out. I've heard a few little plot leaks which have me concerned as well, but I'm cautiously hoping it's going to be good still. But yeah, I think we'll like we said, we'll go into which one. You said Superman you think will be the better quality film. I also agree. I think it'll be better quality by quite significantly actually.
Yeah.
And I think also it'll do much better at the box office, I think.
Yeah, people are rearing for a good Superman movie for sure.
Yeah, and I think the general superhero fatigue is more detrimental on the Marvel side. If, maybe mass audiences don't really care about those things or really see those things, but I feel like the Marvel brand is more stained maybe than DC, because DC haven't had, many big film releases in quite a while, I feel like.
Yeah. We'll see. Honestly, I'm still excited, but this clip in particular, this one that we just seen about Ben Grimm going around town being asked to say the thing, does worry me a bit.
I'm sorry to have exposed you to that.
I'm sure, in the context of the movie, it will make perfect sense. And even they will find an explanation for Johnny's hair being perfectly still while traveling, I don't know how many miles an hour in that shot. Yeah, this.
And I'm hoping you'll be jumping out your chair and your popcorn's gonna go flying everywhere when he goes, "It's clobbering time."
I mean, I will do it. I will do it for the meme, like the Minecraft movie. We'll see. I keep saying this. I remember like our first reviews, like as you mentioned, we did this state of the MCU kind of video, one of the early videos we made, and I kept saying, like this is gonna be a good year, an amazing year, because we have so many interesting projects coming out, and they understood the assignment and they're changing things up. And then Brave Reward was bad.
Now it's clipped for all the internet to see.
And
Your statements solidified in forever in history
Daredevil
about this being the turning point for the MCU.
Daredevil Born Again was also a weird hodgepodge of stuff that didn't really work in the end. Thunderbolts was decent, but nothing remarkable. Ironheart is, what it is. So yeah, my hopes have diminished, even though we all know that all this stuff that is coming out before Fantastic Four was in production for a very long time and was plagued by a bunch of problems, and they have since changed the way they approach.
Plagued by problems of terrible scripts and terrible talent attached to it. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have since
plagued by the problems of their own existence.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
But so if this is bad, right? If Fantastic Four is bad, will you finally lose hope?
Yeah.
For the MCU.
Is that what you want, Tyler? You want a hopeless Tommy? I think the words.
I want to bring you down to the depths that I'm at.
Yeah, no, as I mentioned in previous videos, if Fantastic Four fails, I am officially out. I think I just need this movie to be at least a 7, and if it's not a 7, then who cares anymore? Like, how are they gonna do Doomsday if I don't care about the Fantastic Four? So yeah, I really hope this movie's good. Again, like Superman will probably be good. And there's a lot riding on that movie too, of course. There's the whole DC universe to build from that if it's a success. But I am way more worried for Fantastic Four, because Fantastic Four failing means that everything else coming out of the MCU is just gonna be dog shit. And
because we we mentioned on that State of MCU that they supposedly said they had cleared house of a lot of the creative talent making the decisions at Marvel Studios, quite a while back, and that's why you mentioned maybe this was going to be the turning point for seeing them get back to what they were good at, and we have not seen that yet. And if we don't see it in Fantastic Four, we probably won't until they have some sort of massive 10, 15-year hiatus or whatever, and completely get new people involved, from the top to the bottom. But
And by
yeah, I
then,
totally agree.
we
If
will
this
be tired old men who do not care about this stuff anymore. So
still queuing up for the 7th reiteration of the Fantastic Four.
yeah, can't wait for that. Fantastic Four is 7.
That's got a great ring to it, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
47. I don't know.
We will protect you.